when people approach things that is different from them, they say, "Oh, that is weird."
So for him, it was like we do the same thing, but that one thing drew the line, and he labeled them as violent people. But he never had a violent interaction with them. At least he never said he did in his video, but he did label them as violent people.
In the lesson, if
Or
they
in the
was
lesson,
violent,
yeah.
he wouldn't have lived to go tell the story.
Facts. What's good, y'all? It's the Demouchet REACT, and we're back with another video. Who we got today, C?
Today we're back with another American reaction. Super excited about this video. If you're new to us and we're new to you, make sure you scroll down,
hit that subscribe button,
and turn on the post notification bell
because we're on the road to 200K.
And we cannot get there without you guys, all right? Join the family. Without further ado, let's get into this video.
Let's get it.
We've got some questions. There are a lot of people in our time upset about how you acted once you found all these amazing things in these new lands.
Ah, that's right. You said I'm controversial.
You have no idea.
I've got nothing to hide. Ask away.
Okay, first, your sailing plan was right and all your doubters were wrong?
Well, they were wrong that my crew and I were going to die because after 10 weeks of sailing west, we spotted land.
Your trip was 10 weeks?
You can't even handle a 2-hour car ride.
Ah, greatness requires patience.
You know the land you found wasn't India, right?
Really? Caramba! I suspected something was a little off, but my calculations suggested I had reached India, or at least the Far East.
So what happened when you met the native people, who obviously discovered the land before you did? The Indians?
The first people we met were great, the Taino. They were peaceful, curious, and really helpful. I could tell right away that they were highly intelligent. They even were able to quickly mimic everything we said to them. I ordered my men to treat them well.
I'm sorry, Mr. Columbus, but I heard at school that you spoiled paradise and you brought slavery and murder to peaceful people.
Leo?
Sorry, it's what I read and heard at school.
Caramba! Those are some accusations. The place I discovered was beautiful, but it wasn't exactly a paradise of civilization, and the native people were far from peaceful.
But you just said the Taino were peaceful.
They pretty much are, but there are other tribes who aren't. The Taino I had met had cuts and scars and bruises all over them. I asked why, and they told me about the Caribs, who are vicious, warring cannibals.
Cannibals? Like they
Eat people, see,
Whoa.
right? Hey, all the things that are bad in the world I come from, jealousy, lying, murder, war, it all exists in the land I just found too. But in Europe we draw the line at things like eating people and human sacrifice. Some of the native folks from where I just left do those things regularly.
Side eye on the human sacrifice.
I side-eyed on the scars that he was talking about, because from my knowledge and our knowledge, we know that that's body art. So a lot of women mark their eyes as scarring to show men how attractive they are, and so they can be, so they can get a husband, and so the husband can get a wife.
Or their tribal marks.
And also, it's also their tribal marks, because when he met the Taino people, it wasn't just a group of them, it was, different tribes of them. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of history definitely comes from them with their tribal marks and how they can identify one another. And, I mean, of course, everywhere you go, there's going to have a level of violence at some point. But
of the land.
Yeah, but it's just...
You got to think about the times back then, like, these are native peoples. It's not the modern society. They are hunter-gatherer groups and, nomadic people. And you got to think about the times.
Right.
You got to put yourself there.
Yeah.
But, when people approach things that is different from them, they say, oh, that is weird.
So for him, it was like we do the same thing, but that one thing drew the line, and he labeled them as violent people. But he never had a violent interaction with them. At least he never said he did in his video, but he did label them as violent people.
In the lesson. If
Or
he
in the
was
lesson,
violent,
yeah.
he wouldn't have lived to go tell the story.
Facts. Okay.
So, these people in your time who think it was a peaceful paradise are misinformed. Or lying.
Yeah, but what about slavery? You didn't deny that.
Deny? No. Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no? I don't see the problem.
Well, in our time, we view slavery as...
Even amongst the people I just left. Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no?
Being a slave is better than
Baby,
That's not even
nothing.
quotable. That's not even quotable. Yeah.
Adults are not the audience of this. So if I'm a 6-year-old and I'm being told slavery is better than being killed, and I go home and tell my parents that, tell my parents who are descendants of the slaves of this land, slavery is better than being killed.
I think with today's times, if you like with this being inside of schools, you're gonna basically get what you're asking for, and that's gonna be troublesome reactions from people who are not comfortable with this type of teaching, while other people who wants this type of teaching to be, produced back into the people, they're gonna be okay with it and try to debunk anyone else's attitude towards this type of lesson. And this lesson isn't something that need to be told to people about slavery, like
Told to children.
yeah,
Like the language of it.
I couldn't see myself being a teacher sitting in class allowing that. That's it's like I think being kids, I think children at the age, because you know what the age group is when they start to see this type of film in their classrooms. I think they'll see right through this.
You think if they didn't learn anything
No, if they didn't learn anything,
at home, what they gonna look through? What they gonna see through?
if they didn't learn anything at home, 100%. But I think there's a fair
They're gonna
side
believe
of
what they hear.
there's a fair side of all of this that I think parents have done a great job with introducing their children to some level of history.
Depending on the age. If their first interaction with history, especially of this land, is this at school, the half of them will believe it.
No, I'm not debunking that, but I'm saying if there's a group of parents at any point of this that have introduced their children to any level of history, they're going to hear something like this if they can catch it and not doing nothing crazy in class, but they'll hear something like this and be like, you know what I'm saying, probably question it. If anything, I would hope they would, because I think people need to question if they hear anything like this in a film, because it's not...
Kids are kids.
Yeah.
I don't see the problem.
Well, in our time, we view slavery as being evil and terrible.
Ah, magnifico. That's wonderful. I am glad humanity has reached such a time. But you said you're from 500 years in the future? How can you come here to the 15th century and judge me by your standards from the 21st century? For those in the future to look back and do this is, well, estúpido.
Are you calling me dumb?
Certainly not. I can tell you're a very smart young lady. But the idea of throwing away the past because of your present values is... Listen, I love and am thankful for the ancient Greeks, but they did
It's definitely not throwing away the past because of today's mindset of how we view the history. It's basically saying wrong is wrong. You can't ever put light on raping, beating, killing, lynching, tormenting people as you can't make that a normal, reality for people. Who would want to ever, in their right mind, live at a certain time in history and say that it was normal for me to be in this time, and it was right? And in any way, I'll wait for y'all to, even if the shoe's on the other foot, I'll wait.
So let's talk about transatlantic slave trade for a minute. Okay, let's talk about the reality.
If you want to talk about it, I got some bars for you.
Let's talk about the reality of it. When they went and traded, when they went to Africa and traded goods, they were trading liquor and other things we can go to the store right now and buy for $1 for human bodies. And they were specific on the human bodies that they wanted. They wasn't getting the elderly. They was leaving the elderly at home. They wasn't getting...
If they was doing that, if they was, didn't,
They wasn't getting the disabled. They was getting children. And they were getting women who were of childbearing age. Because this chattel slavery was based on race and hereditary. Okay? So they wanted to continue this lineage for however long that they felt that they wanted to do it for. Okay? They knew that they didn't just want that person. They wanted whatever would come from that person. Right? And they got our strong and what would we call them? Strong and the leaders of the villages. Okay? So they was very specific on the type of people they wanted. And they knew what type of system and how long of a system they wanted. That is who they got. So you mean to tell me y'all broke up families and y'all telling us, I'm talking like it's real, like we really could talk to them.
No, I feel you. You're passionate,
I understand what they're trying to do, because by them changing the curriculums, they're trying to
Gotta bring
say
it back,
we
yeah.
can't judge the past based on today's values. Yes, we can.
100%.
Yes, we can.
I wouldn't want this for nobody.
Yes, we can. And they always bring up the thing of the native people were enslaving amongst themselves. That was tribal wars. Come on. They always bring up how
It wasn't even the same.
right.
That was totally two different ways of capturing.
Right. They always bring up the Africans sold the Africans. Come on. Why? Why?
I think I made a mention
Look
of that
at
before though, because I think like what that happened was I had said that like the people had to kind of be in position to either they did help out with the slave trade and all of that and work with them whenever they did come, or they could have been in a position to where their family could have been hurt or endangered at any cost, or either their own person themselves could have been hurt or endangered as well. So it's kind of like they didn't have a choice when you have all of these people and all of these boats coming over to force you to do these things and get on board with what the program was at that time. So yeah, that's kind of what it was.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it was human trafficking.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Stop using Africans selling Africans into slavery as an excuse. Okay, that does not make up for the largest migration of people.
Right.
Okay, that don't make up for that at all. So stop it. This dialogue that I'm hearing in this video that is meant for children, one that just got approved for a curriculum.
Right. And we talked about this with y'all a lot. So this is like the visual for you right here. That's what kids gonna be looking at.
I am hearing political propaganda. That's what I'm hearing.
Lots of things that here in 1493 I do not agree with. They permitted lifestyles and worship gods that, as a Christian, I think is very bad. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't respect and honor. I do not agree with. They permitted lifestyles and worship gods that, as a Christian, I think is very bad.
Come
But
on.
Bro, you walk in somebody's house and you tell them how to live their life. Just imagine what somebody did that to you right now. They walk into your house and they see whatever you had on your walls hanging. They see what type of food you was cooking. And they start to judge everything that you're doing as if, I mean, y'all guys know how that go. As if they have like authority over their whole lifestyles. Like,
I can't believe this was
just
approved.
that's crazy.
I can't believe this was approved. People get in an uproar if we have prayer in schools. I can't believe this was approved. As a Christian, and I'm a Christian, but you mean to tell me back in the day, just because they approached people who had different belief systems, they thought it was not right, so they felt like as another human they had to go in and change the way people live?
Forcefully. That's what that was. I don't understand that. Like, yeah. Because I mean, I really would make this a more international comment because religion is all over.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And if he was but landing in all these places like he said he was doing, then that same ideology would have been on every other ethnic group as he was coming towards them as well. I mean, I'm just saying, but...
Wow.
that doesn't mean I shouldn't respect and honor all the incredible and amazing things they did.
So, good and bad is based on the time you live in?
That is a great question. I told you I knew you were smart. Some things are clearly bad, no matter when they happen.
Slavery?
But for other things, before you judge, you must ask yourself, what did the culture and society at the time treat as no big deal? Not everyone can time travel as you do. And
That's so terrible to say, bro. Because you're telling me, like, in today's time, if wrecking your car was like just a style where people are just starting to just wreck their cars for free, and then everybody start doing it, do that make that okay to damage your property because everyone else is doing it? So back in the time when it was enslaving Africans, that was supposed to be a wave where everyone's supposed to get on board and start doing it. Like,
Wow.
that don't make it okay.
Wow, so you mean to tell me, okay, stripping people from their families and sending them across the world, that was okay, right? So you mean to tell me having slave breeding farms, that was okay, right? You mean to tell me aping, because I don't know if I can even say that word on YouTube, but aping was okay, right? All of that was okay. Whipping people
I think
was okay.
I think when people, I think especially the children, like when they hear this type of stuff, now what's going to be even more, you know, like a curveball for them is what their mindset is with the teaching that comes behind it. You know what I'm saying? The curriculum behind it, what the actual teacher says behind it. But it's like, always remember, like, if you don't want to be in that person's position, why would it be deemed okay?
Listen.
Why would it be deemed okay if you would never see yourself being stripped from your family, never see yourself where you have to witness the aping of your siblings, or the torture of your siblings and the beating of your siblings? Like, if you have to witness that, you probably wouldn't think it would be okay for you. So it shouldn't have been okay for any other person. You know what I'm saying? Ever.
It's not okay today, and it wasn't okay back then.
Nah.
This is ridiculous.
See how normal becomes very not normal.
Some things are, some things aren't. Sounds complicated.
It is, and so is life. And history can be too. If people in your time want to celebrate me for being a perfect hero, then they are very mistaken. Only my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ is perfect, and I hope to spread his teaching to all the lands I find that don't know his name. But if people in your time want to celebrate the guts I had to get this journey approved, start it, survive it, and get back to tell about it, well, that seems pretty good for any time and age.
I think you're right. Thanks for answering our questions, Mr. Columbus.
You're a courageous explorer, and you've given me a lot to think about. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, kids. Now, let me lock you up and show you to the King and Queen of Spain. Just kidding. Safe travels, my friends.
Bye.
Columbus sure had a crazy life.
He made 3 more journeys across the ocean to the New World.
And it seems like most of the negative reports about him come from people who were his competition for things.
I don't think Christopher Columbus was a villain. And maybe he wasn't a hero, but he sure did some heroic things.
That sounded like a political debate.
Wow.
That sounded like a political debate. This dialogue.
Wow.
Who wrote this? Come on.
Well, golly. History is very nasty, dog. Google Jesus of Lubeck. It's a boat. And I want y'all to Google it. Around the Atlantic slave trade time. Google that. And then you can kind of like start piecing stuff together. You see, because when they was really trying to, what he was really trying to do was go get spices, go get gold, and, you know, things like that. But his trip back was so long that they ran out of food at that time. So now he's demanding the native people to give him what they don't even have. And everything else led to one thing to another. And yeah, and then with the Queen Elizabeth, and it's just, it's deeper than what you guys see, this blue and this colorful cartoonery stuff. This stuff
I don't even want to hear it no more.
This stuff that was hard. I gotta replay that. That ball said,
Like most of the negative reports about him come from people who were his competition
his
for things.
competition.
That sound like the political. That sound like our politicians saying that. That is crazy.
And they even try to paint him a good guy in this video. Hey, okay. Yeah, so you guys, this is what they're gonna be issuing out in schools as a curriculum. The children are gonna definitely be involved in this teaching, and as you guys heard this before, they're gonna be eventually trying to make it seem like slavery wasn't a bad thing at the time, because everybody was doing it, and like he said, people would rather be slaves than die.
No.
Like as if that's their lifestyle option before, you know what I'm saying, ever meeting Columbus.
Let my people
Okay.
go. Y'all wrong for that.
That's cool.
Y'all wrong for that for real. I cannot believe this. But then again, I can, and that is sad.
I mean, that just goes to, you know, prove the narrative that how this world is kind of operating and going, you know, about. And yeah, that things can definitely repeat itself.
Yeah, so the problem was they didn't like that they felt that children were feeling what they said.
I know what you're
they
trying to say.
felt
That
that
was
children were feeling
Was
like
it
they were the bad ones. But now y'all want
like bullying
like,
almost
yeah,
could
like
have
bullying.
been taking place because of history.
right. So it's gonna get even worse.
100%. And that's why I made my comment earlier. Like, there's parents who have introduced their children to history just for the knowledge and understanding of who they need to be as they're growing up in this world. But some other parents are looking at us like, I don't want my child to feel victimized, or I don't want my child to feel attacked or targeted. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, they was never victimized or nothing. It's just it's the black culture, community, African diaspora that was the natives that was in position to be enslaved throughout history.
And
that
genocide.
was genocide that was and beaten and all this stuff that was actually attacked. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like I don't see how they can come up with this type of new teaching and all to kind of like help
Right.
in any way. I don't see how this is helping.
Not at all.
It's gonna make things worse if you ask me.
It's gonna make things worse. It's going
It's gonna make things worse.
make people feel entitled.
This just got approved and this shouldn't be in here. So people can definitely make a change if they really, really push for it.
Right.
And it's history. It's always been like that.
All right. Let history be as it is. We don't need no special characters with biased views trying to rewrite history. Let it be what it was.
That was his competition.
Let it be what it was.
Hold
I
on.
don't think Christopher Columbus was a villain. And maybe he wasn't a hero, but he sure did some heroic things that are definitely worth celebrating.
And a lot of the things we judge him for now were just normal in his time.
Babe, I can't
You never
do no
know,
more.
Leo. Maybe some of the
That's
things.
stupid. That's stupid.
They-
It's stupid.
It's like he really got in their head and made them think the opposite of what they was being told in the present time. So now they went back into the present time and now they're looking at everybody as like, no, because of my time travel button, I talked to them and you guys are wrong. So I don't know why y'all think like that. And then that's kind of how the society is gonna start to operate if it continue. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, y'all tripping, y'all actually had it pretty good. Y'all learned a lot. No,
If it wasn't for this, y'all wouldn't even be here.
We built
I've been told that
everything.
before.
We built literally everything
Yeah.
from the biggest seats in this country. You know what I'm saying? Like we built that
We created wealth for the country. For everybody except for us.
for ourselves. I mean,
Yeah.
we did make wealth for ourselves. It was just kept getting taken over and over
Yeah.
and over.
Yeah, I kept getting.
Yeah, and yeah.
Yeah. But
But-
we're never going to go there. Let history be as it is. Tell it as it is. Exactly as it is. Don't keep no parts out. Don't create no special characters to try to tell how you feel it was and how the people felt. None of that. All right? This is
Not enough
ridiculous.
time on our hands for this, y'all.
Not at all. We do know that there are some good politicians, some sensible politicians on both sides
Yeah.
who are fighting against this, and we appreciate that,
Yeah.
for our children of this country.
Yeah.
So we hope you guys got something from this video.
Mhm.
Like this video, subscribe, turn on the post notification bell, and we'll see you soon. Peace.